Hello there. This is the drawing we are going to be making today. Have your pencil, paper, and eraser ready. Your paper will be laying down, not standing up, laying down like this, horizontally. Now, where should I start? I think I'm going to organize my paper. I'm going to plan this. I'm going to use half of the paper. I think that's how big it needs to be. So the little girl and the bed will be on the left half of the paper, while the rest of the drawing will be on the right half of the paper. Drawing really big will let you get as many details in there as possible, and anybody will be able to see it. I think the first shape that I recognize is the biggest one, a big rectangle that is laying down. I am tracing it on my other drawing so that you can see it too. I think I'm going to find the middle of that half of the paper. Yeah, that's the middle. And I think that's where I'm going to draw that rectangle. I need 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, and 4 lines. Now it's your turn. The next step will be the bed stumps or legs underneath the bed. They remind me of squares, but see how tiny they are? And they are both the same size. Under the bed, draw 2 squares. Make them the same size. After this, the next shape that I recognize is half a circle or a semicircle. This one is going to be a little bit difficult, so I need to practice it first. I think I'm going to draw it like that, an arch or a curved line. Now you try it. Practice it first, and then draw it. The next shape will be a square. That's what it reminds me of. But on the paper, I have to leave enough space not just for the body, but the head as well. So first I draw the square, 1, 2, 3 lines, and the other one will be hiding behind the semicircle. On my paper, I left enough space for the head. I still have to draw the head. It's also in the shape of a circle, so I practice it first. I already traced it on my other paper so you can recognize it. And now I have to practice it. Not super big, but the right size and right where I want to practice it. Not really tiny, no. I think that's a better size. 1, 2, and 3. Now you do it. Now for the arms, I think I see some rectangles there. I imagine them as rectangles. I'm going to trace them so that you can see them too. Both arms have to be the same length, the same size. I measure with my fingers, not so big. And if you end up with one arm longer than the other, you just erase it and try again. Also, make sure that they are pointing in the same direction more or less. So one will be diagonal, a rectangle going back to the body, and then the other one will be going in the opposite direction, but still diagonal. Diagonal lines are not standing up and they're not laying down, they are inclined. For the hands, I am going to use circles. I know that real hands are not really like circles, but let's pretend that this little kid is making fists with her hands and they look closer to circles. That makes it easier to draw. Practice them, make sure that they are the same size. If you made a mistake or if some of the lines are too messy, you can use your eraser to clean it up. I think I'm ready to draw the eyes. Remember that the eyes are in the middle of the circle. In the middle, not at the bottom, not at the top. I like drawing 2 dots. Those make really easy eyes. But if you already know how to draw a different style of eyes, you can try it too. Under the eyes, a horizontal straight line, and then a half circle underneath. Between the 2 eyes, a nose. On top of each eye, an eyebrow. Next to each eye, an ear. 2 ears, no more than that. On top of the eyebrows, you will leave a space for the forehead. The forehead is that space between your eyebrows and the hair. You can get rid of the rest of the circle and just leave the forehead. But we still have to draw the top of the head. I am just cleaning up my drawing just a little bit with my eraser so the lines don't get all messy and confusing. The hair I am drawing will be going around and on top of the head. Even if you had short hair, you can still see hair at the top and on the sides of your head. Make sure that you draw it. You can even practice it before you draw it. On the top and around. I am using curvy lines that remind me of clouds, fluffy clouds. If I had made a really tiny drawing, nobody would be able to notice the color of the pretty eyes or how cool the curly hair is. So I'm really glad that I drew really big. Next to the person, I'm going to write a sentence that says, "Good morning." If this person just got up in the middle of the night and looks like that, I don't think this person would be saying good evening, unless she was a vampire or something. So let's just stick with good morning. Put it inside of an oval. And draw a tiny little triangle that is pointing at the person. That way we know that the person is the one saying that message. Now let's draw on the right half of the paper. We have to draw the window, and it reminds me of a square. Maybe almost a rectangle? Whichever way. I'm tracing it on the other paper so that you can recognize it too, and see how big it is. This is one half, here is the other half of the paper. And I think I'm going to draw it at the same height as the bed. I think that's where I'm going to start drawing the window. 1, 2, I'm going almost all the way to the top of the paper. 3, and 4, I close the shape. Now you try it. Now for the best part, I love these kinds of windows. Then they're so easy to draw. I just need one vertical and one horizontal line. Verticals are lines that are standing up. I find the middle of that square, and then I draw my vertical line going up. I find the middle of the square, and I draw my horizontal line. We already established that it's daytime. It's not nighttime. This is not a vampire drawing. I'm going to draw part of a circle because the sun is coming out. I can even draw it a little bit smaller. That's fine too. It's almost like 1/4 of a circle. And around that circle, triangles. Each of those triangles is the same size as the previous one. All of them have the same size, more or less. If I draw itty-bitty tiny triangles, I will have to draw many of them to fill up that circle. But if I draw them bigger, I will draw only a few of them. We are almost done with our drawing, except that we still have to draw the ground. And it's going to go from one edge of the paper to the other edge. It's one long horizontal line. Kind of in the middle of the paper, actually. Now, I need a rectangle that is laying down horizontally. I'm tracing it so that you can recognize it too. See how big it is? I think it's going to be taking up a lot of space at the bottom of the paper. On the right side, on the right half of the paper. I'm drawing the fringe of that rug or floor mat. I think whichever one of those names works. Rug or floor mat. I am ready to color. I'm going to start with the skin. But first, I'm going to get all of my skin colors, or all of them that I can find within my color crayons, within my collection of crayons. You don't just need peach or tan. You can have light browns, dark browns. I think I can still find some more here within all of my crayons. And all of them look pretty cool. I think I'm gonna pick a light brown. Or it's kind of dark, and it's gonna be really cool. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to trace everything that is skin. The face, the ears, and most importantly, don't forget the hands. I still have to trace those too. I'm also going to color inside of the shape that I just traced. I'm coloring evenly and without leaving any empty white spots, except for the smile. The smile will be a different color. I am speeding through this part of the video so that you can see way faster right now how good a drawing can look when I take my time, when I'm coloring evenly, using different colors for different shapes, and without going out of the lines. So don't think that I'm actually coloring this quickly. I am taking my time, but I am just speeding through the video. I'm just making the video go faster, but in reality, I was coloring very slowly, and I was making sure that I was tracing, and I was taking my time. With the same color that I'm going to be using, I like to trace around the shape, and then I color inside of it. I find that if I trace around the shape, if I trace what I did with everything that is done with pencil, if I trace it with my crayon or a marker, then the rest of the drawing is going to help me in not coloring outside of the lines. I also like to use different colors. For example, if I used a light brown on the skin, I cannot use the same light brown on any other place on the drawing. I would like to use a darker brown maybe, or an even lighter one, but not the same one. Or if I'm using light blue for the PJs, then I can use a different kind of blue for the sky. Also, I want to remind everybody that it looks really nice when you color the sky blue and the clouds white, not the opposite. Do not leave the sky white and empty and then the clouds blue. It always looks better when you do the opposite, when you actually color it the way it is. On really big areas like walls, the ground or the sky, for example, the bigger it is, the easier people will notice if you are coloring unevenly or if you use any scribble scrabbles. So make sure that if you started coloring sideways, you keep going sideways until you finish the whole area. Or if you started coloring up and down, you will keep going up and down, up and down, up and down throughout the whole area. Don't go up and down sideways and then you move it all around in circles, because then it's going to look messy and disorganized, like you are in a hurry and it looks confusing. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next time. Stay safe and goodbye.